Hey, what's up guys? It's Freezy here. So I want to make a quick video showing my build and setup. A lot of people have been asking about it for TM Warlock on my rank 1 character. So this is the character that got me to rank 1. I think our total win-loss was like 58 wins and 12 losses. Ended up going on a massive like 17 game win streak towards the end to beat a lot of other Warlord teams, and that pushed us up all the way to 35-18. I got another Warlock to Warlord as well, a new account, Peace Freezy. That one was also TM, exact same build. So in this video, I just want to run you guys through the build and the setup for TM Warlock. I will say, first of all, that I think TM Warlock is very strong right now. But in terms of arena, you know, it's still a bit worse than Wizard and Ranger. Also, the build I'm going to show you is specifically for the comp that I'm running, which is Wizard, Warlock, and Fighter. And I think TM Warlock, if you're solo queuing it, it's pretty much impossible to reach Warlord. You're going to need to play with at least a Wizard for the anti-healing, but also Wizard provides the burst damage that you don't have. So in this comp, I'm playing more of a support role. I can take aggro from melee enemies off the Wizard. I can also help debuff enemies. So you see I'll be running Curse Mastery. 3 of these perks are very standard, like Vampirism, Torture Mastery you always take in TM. Anti-Magic is really, really good this swipe. And then your one flexible perk, usually you can run like Malice, Dark Enhancement, Dark Reflection, or Curse Mastery. So I'm running Curse Mastery because I'm running a setup with Curse of Weakness. So it's your typical 3 spells, Pain, Sack, and Hydra that go together. And then you have some flexible spells you can run. I think you should always take Bolt of Darkness. It's too good, and it gives you some burst potential and range potential, which Warlock doesn't have normally. So you always take Bolt as well. The only choice really comes down to like Flame Walk, Eldritch Shield, or Curse of Weakness. So if you're solo queuing, I would definitely drop Weakness and run Flame Walker. Especially in the gear that I have, I'm very slow. I'm 304 MS. If you're under 310, you need to be running Flame Walk. Otherwise, you're just going to get ran down. It's a lot harder to build move speed nowadays. Classes that have a lot of move speed, like Bards, or have burst of move speed, like Barbarians, if they wear a fast kit, they're just going to walk you down. Phantomize isn't enough to save you. That's one of the things that kind of hurt TM in a sense this wipe. But luckily, if you have Flame Walk, your move speed doesn't really matter. The Flame Walk will prevent people from W-king you. But in my comp, since I'm playing with a Wizard, you know, people usually ignore me and go for the Wizard. Curse of Weakness is my way of punishing them for ignoring me. It's kind of massive. If you take Curse Mastery and Curse of Weakness, it makes Curse of Weakness last for 15 seconds, basically. And people don't realize how strong Curse of Weakness is. Basically, it removes 1/4 of each stat. So 25% of the raw stat. So let's say there's a Wizard and a Wizard has 40 will, 40 knowledge. That's actually very common numbers for a Wizard to have 40 will and 40 knowledge because of their soft caps. If you weakness the Wizard, his will and knowledge drops to 30. So he's literally losing 10 will, 10 knowledge for 15 seconds. It's kind of insane. And he's also losing, obviously, 25% of the other stats as well. So he's losing move speed, he's losing health, he's losing action speed, and then will, knowledge, as well as resourcefulness. So any class that stacks one stat really high to like 40 plus, like Barbarians, Fighters do as well, they're losing all those stats. Rogues have high agility decks, Rangers have high agility decks. Weakness is just pretty much nerfing them down from purple gear down to like blue gear or even green gear because of how many stats they're losing. So that's actually one of the most powerful spells. And the fact that you can put it on multiple enemies is insane. But again, if you're going to run Weakness, I would always run Curse Mastery to get maximum value out of it. Now, the drawback of Curse Mastery is your other curses last longer too, so you can't reapply Pain a lot for the instant damage. It's not really a huge deal, because in this comp, the way the arena meta is, people are just going to be running at you, and the fights are going to end pretty quickly, especially if you have a Wizard. You're not typically getting a ton of Pain rotations anyway, unless you're fighting a healer team. Another benefit of Curse Mastery is it makes my Power of Sack longer. So one way to abuse that is in round 1, when there's mobs, you can put Power of Sack on 2 mobs, and that Power of Sack is going to last 15 seconds. That's 15 seconds of healing, where you're pretty much God mode, and you can W key other range classes. Tank Rangers, for example. Wizards, you can just tank their damage and go up and get your curses rolling. And once you establish curses on the enemy and you haven't like lost all your health, you snowball so hard that you usually just win the fight on TM Warlock. So if I ever push a ranger and I get 2 curses on him and he hasn't chunked all my health down, I'm just going to Shadow Bolt him down like the fight's already over. Wizards are even easier this wipe. Wizards are one of the easiest classes to fight if you're building correctly. So let me go and show you the build real quick. The idea is Knowledge, Vigor, Will, Agi. All those stats are pretty good, but definitely Prio, Knowledge, and Vigor. Cast speed is super important for getting off your spells. Vigor is super important because you're a squishy class. You don't want to be low HP. So Occultist Hood, Occultist Robe with Knowledge, Agi, Gem cast speed on this. Padded Leggings. I think padded leggings are best in slot because they have -2 MS versus what else would you wear? Like Chausis has -3. So padded leggings is actually really broken because they have Vigor, which you can't roll health anymore, so Vigor is really a nice stat. But the fact that this has the same move speed penalty as Loose Trousers, while also having way more armor than Loose Trousers, and the fact that Agi got nerfed as a stat, so Vigor is just a better stat than Agi, it makes padded leggings best in slot. Like, there's no alternative, really. Occultist Robe is going to be best in slot because of the 50 magic resistance and -4 penalty. So it's one of the fastest chest pieces you can wear, and it has the highest magic resistance, and that's going to be very important for hitting our magic resistance soft cap, which is 65%. Actually, that's a hard cap, meaning that's as tanky as you can get against magic damage. The best things about TM Warlock is you counter wizards pretty much, and we almost never lose to wizard cleric teams or any other double caster team because I just walk down wizards with this build. Go for Vigor, Knowledge, Will, and the gloves. Vigor, Knowledge, Will, and the boots. Lightfoots are a must. Mystic gloves are a must for the magic healing. Occultist Hood for the magic healing. So these pieces are all unreplaceable. You can get the Frostlight version of the Mystic gloves and the Lightfoots, but good luck finding those with these rolls. There's even less supply of them, so just end up with the regular ones. I wear a Spec Cloak because it has 6 stats versus a normal purple cloak only has 3 stats. So total, you're getting a lot of stats. It also has pretty good armor value compared to some of the other cloaks. Don't roll nearly as high on the armor. Strength Dex Will doesn't seem like the best Warlock stats, but if you're running a Spectral Blade, which I think you should always run as your melee weapon in Arena, you'll definitely use that Strength and Dex. I pull out my Spectral Blade a lot in fights, especially if we're fighting healer teams and I need to get off burst. Like, Shadow Bolts are just not going to cut it, especially against like Demon Locks and things like that. Pulling out your longsword is one of the best ways you can do burst, especially if you power of sack yourself. For your book, you're almost always you're always going to have Requiem of the Fairy. There is no better book. For the rolls, obviously max magic healing, cast speed, and then I gem magic resistance. I'll show you guys why. To reach the soft cap, since anti-magic is giving us 20%, we need to reach 45% with book out. You see I have 42%. Book has 19. Quick way to do the math is just multiply the magic resist by 2, and that's what the MDR value is. So 19 magic resist is equal to 3.8 MDR. With book out, I go up to 46, and then with anti-magic, I'm all the way at 65. So I'm maxed out on my magic defense. That's why I gem the book with it. So book, necklace, I also put magic resist on because it can roll really high this wipe. It can roll up to 30, and then cloak can also roll high, but I don't need magic resist on all 3, so I put cast speed on the cloak. And then add magic, I would put everywhere you can get add magic. It's one of Warlock's best stats because Warlock has low base damage on all their spells, like 15 on the curse, bolt goes up to 20, flame walk, hydro projectile. Add magic becomes more valuable the lower your spell's base damage is, because it's a bigger percentage of damage that you're adding to your spell. Compared to like wizards, all their spells are doing like 20, 25, 30 base. So the one add, which is still really good for wizard because of their scaling, still, you know, it's even better on warlocks. I see some people, they want to have the higher rolls of like armor or some other stat like magic pen on their cloak, so they don't take the add magic, but I think it's a mistake. I think you need to take add magic everywhere possible. It's too good on Warlock. You need to be doing damage because this class, you don't do as much damage as wizards anyway, so you need to pick up damage wherever you can to help that out. Now, for rings, I got double vitality, but it really just depends on your stats. Like, I have 43 cast speed, and then with the enchants on the vitalities, these are perfectly rolled, so I just stack health. I don't really need more move speed. 304, so I bring an Agi swap kit just in case I need more move speed. It's almost the same thing, but instead of will, I swap the roll to Agi on 3 of my pieces. So when I swap to Agi and then swap one of my rings to Agi, I go up to 310. So that's my Agi swap. It's really quick to do it in the middle of a fight. I just gotta click like this. So I go from 304 MS to 310 MS. The only time we'll do an Agi swap is if it comes down to like a 1v1 or a 2v2 where it's like 2 melee and we need a kite and they're fast, or against certain comps like triple melee and one of them's always W-keying me, I'll swap to the Agi gear. And keep in mind, in my pre-made trio, I don't run flame walk, so I need the move speed to get away if someone's W-keying me. But a lot of times, you know, when you're fighting like wizard comps, a lot of people are just going on my wizard, so I'd rather lose the Agi pick up more will, and I just do way more damage with the extra will. That's to keep in mind. And then if I'm fighting wizards, just be very conscious of being MDR cap, which you're going to need the help of will. You see, once I take off all those will pieces and swap them to Agi, I lose my MDR cap by like 5%. It's pretty significant. 5% doesn't sound like a lot, but the way the damage reduction curves work is as you get higher, your effective HP starts increasing faster. So the difference between a warlock with 60% magic reduction and 65 is massive. It's more than a warlock with 55 compared to a warlock with 60. So that final 5% is really big. I mean, that's the kit. There's not really much flexibility to TM Warlock. Like, you could wear a lot more MS if you wanted. Like, quickness rings give up some HP, but you risk dying really quickly to rangers. I'm still getting 2-tapped by rangers with this much health. Especially really good rangers are still the biggest counter to Warlock right now. But the nice thing is it's just ranger and not ranger and wizard. So one of the things that made it super hard for TM Warlock to climb and reach Warlord before is the fact that wizards before this wipe were a hard counter to Warlocks. Even with anti-magic, the reason wizards countered Warlocks is because of true magic damage. And it was way harder to reach magic reduction cap because you couldn't roll 30 like you can this wipe. This wipe 26 on neck, that's insane. Last wipe you couldn't do that. But even if you did like put magic resistance on your stuff, wizards had true magic damage. So their fireballs were like triple dipping in true damage. So every time they fireball you, you're taking a ton of true. Their magic missiles would do a ton of true. All their spells had true mag. So it doesn't matter how tanky you were. Wizards would just all in you and kill you with fire mastery, and there's just no way to win that 1v1 really, unless you had crazy line of sight and they misplayed. But now, even against the best wizards, like I fought pretty much all the warlord wizards. I mean, the only time I've ever died to a wizard in a 1v1 is if I've just completely trolled. Maybe out of 100 fights against warlord wizards that are straight 1v1s, I've probably won like 98 of them. And the only times I've lost again are me just like flanking twice on a wall when I shouldn't have or something like that. The fight is really easy. Wizards don't do much damage when you're MDR cap. You just got to put up one curse, walk at them, and start hitting them with Spectral Blade. They can't really do anything about it. They're too slow to kite that. If they explosion or fireball you, they hit themselves, they die faster. If they magic missile, you take no damage, so you're just going to kill them anyway. The only thing they can do that's viable is start ice bolt spamming you, but again, it doesn't really do much damage. You're gonna, if you have any curses on them at all, you're gonna kill them way before they kill you. And that's pretty much it. I run Phantomize, of course, to get away from rogues and all-ins from melee classes. This also makes you a non-viable target, so the team has to focus your wizard. And the thing is, wizards are really strong when people run at them. Like, you have to eat so many fireballs and so much damage. I think one of the weaknesses of comps where it's like wizard ranger, for example, the ranger becomes a liability in that comp. Like rogues or phantomized bot blocks can just ignore the wizard, run down the ranger, and kill the ranger. And wizards kind of struggle in situations where their teammates are getting all in and they can't use half their spells because they don't want to hit their teammates. We made this comp work. I wouldn't say it's exactly strong, but it was enough to get rank 1 at least this arena season. Keep in mind, this build was purely for the arena. For HR, I run a slightly different build. Actually, it's significantly different, but the same concepts apply, like padded leggings being best in slot. My HR kits still have those, but the way I aim my stats is a bit different. So for HR, maybe I'll do a different video. I didn't want this video to be too long, so I think I'll just keep it there. If you guys have any questions, just ask them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, guys.